Do you think I was a mistake? Just because I was born on the street? That was the first thing Lily Brooks asked her father the night she moved into his mansion in Lake Forest. Her voice was calm, but her eyes, those wide, dark eyes, held years of quiet wounds, of cold nights and unanswered prayers. James Carter, billionaire, powerful, untouchable in the boardroom, had no idea how to answer a question like that. Not from the daughter he never knew he had. Not when she was trembling in front of him, wearing his late wife's oversized pajamas and clutching a stuffed dinosaur. She wasn't just a child. She was a storm of memory, truth and pain, wrapped in a fragile body that had survived far more than he ever would. And that was the night everything changed. Because what started as a stranger begging for leftovers would soon unravel lies buried for nearly a decade, break open the heart of a man who had built walls no one could climb, and put a target on a child who had finally found a home. If you stay with us, you'll witness a decision so powerful it could destroy a legacy or save a soul. The rain had just started to fall over downtown Chicago, turning the sidewalks slick and shimmering under the glow of city lights. James Carter, a sharp-suited billionaire CEO, stepped out of one of the city's most exclusive restaurants. His 4-year-old son, Ethan, clung quietly to his hand, as always silent, withdrawn, lost inside his own little world. James was used to it by now. Therapists, speech specialists, behavioral experts, none had cracked the silence that wrapped around Ethan like armor. And so James had adjusted, speaking for two, carrying the weight of a child's quiet sadness while trying to maintain the persona of a man who had it all. Then a small voice shattered that illusion. "If I can make your son speak," the voice said, "will you give me your leftovers?" James turned sharply. Standing under the dripping awning was a girl who couldn't have been older than 9. Her hair was tangled, her cheeks smudged with city soot, and her sneakers were little more than scraps of fabric. But her eyes were alive, confident, steady. "What did you say?" James asked, tightening his grip on Ethan. The girl nodded toward the boy. "He doesn't talk right, but I can make him talk." James stared at her. Was this some cruel joke, some delusional kid pretending to do what dozens of trained professionals hadn't been able to do for years? "You have no idea what you're saying, kid," he said dryly. "My son has a serious condition. This isn't a game." "I'm not playing," the girl replied, stepping closer. "If I succeed, you feed me. If I don't, I'll walk away and never bother you again." James was about to dismiss her when something strange happened. Ethan, who always shrank behind him when approached by strangers, was now watching her. No fear, just focus. The girl knelt so she was eye level with Ethan. "Hi," she whispered gently. "I'm Lily." "What's your name?" The moment stretched thick with disbelief. Then Ethan opened his mouth. "Sister." James's breath caught. Did he hear that right? "What did you say, buddy?" he asked, his voice shaking. Ethan looked up at him, then back to the girl. "Sister," he said again louder. Lily smiled and gently reached out to brush his cheek. "That's right, I'm your sister." James froze. For 4 years, his son hadn't uttered a single word. Now he was speaking with perfect clarity to a stranger. No, a child he'd just met. A stranger who now claimed to be his daughter. "What's your mother's name?" James asked, his voice almost breaking. "Claire Brooks," Lily said calmly. "She always told me my real family was out there somewhere. She died 2 years ago. I've been on my own ever since." James felt the name slice through his chest like glass. Claire, the woman he had loved 8 years ago before marrying Rachel. The woman he never stopped wondering about. Everything began crashing in at once. The timeline, the resemblance, the way Ethan looked at her like he had always known her. It wasn't impossible. It was horrifyingly plausible. Ethan tugged at his father's jacket. "I'm hungry." A second sentence. James nearly collapsed. Lily straightened. I held up my end of the deal. James blinked. "You're coming home with us." She hesitated. "Why should I trust you?" Because James said, taking Ethan's hand, who instinctively reached out and grabbed hers. "I think you're telling the truth. I think we are family." Her face didn't soften. Not yet, but she didn't pull away either. "If you try anything, I'll run." "I wouldn't blame you," James replied quietly. "But I won't hurt you, ever." They walked together through the rain. For For the first time, Ethan didn't flinch when someone else held his hand. James could barely process what was happening. Part of him wanted to believe. Another part screamed it was all too strange, too sudden. When they arrived at the luxury apartment, Lily stopped dead in her tracks. "No way I'm going in there," she said. "That building looks like a place that kicks girls like me out." The doorman raised an eyebrow but said nothing as James led them in. Inside the elevator, James spoke softly. "You're safe here." "They all say that," Lily muttered, squeezing Ethan's hand tighter. When the elevator doors opened on the 30th floor, her eyes widened. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a skyline of light, rooms larger than any she'd seen in her life. "You live here, just you and him?" "Yes, since Rachel died 2 years ago." Ethan ran to his room and came back with a plush dinosaur. "Here," he said, offering it to Lily. James nearly dropped to his knees. Ethan had never shared his toys, not even with family. "Thanks," Lily said, hugging the dinosaur like it was gold. "He's perfect." James cleared his throat. "You need a bath and clean clothes. You'll have privacy, of course." Lily narrowed her eyes. "I don't strip for strangers. I'd never ask you to." "You'll bathe alone. I'll give you Ethan's spare clothes." As Lily locked the bathroom door, James turned and immediately called his assistant. "I need a DNA test, first thing tomorrow morning, and I want everything you can dig up on Claire Brooks. She was in Chicago 8 years ago. When Lily emerged, clean hair damp, dressed in oversized pajamas, she looked like a different child. Younger, fragile, but still proud. "You smell nice," Ethan said matter-of-factly. "You too," she replied, tousling his hair. They sat together while James made sandwiches. He watched Lily eat like it was the first real food she'd had in weeks. "When was your last meal?" he asked. "Yesterday. Found half a hot dog in a dumpster." "How long have you been on your own?" "Since I was 7. My mom died. The people who took me in couldn't afford me, left me in Grant Park. And before that, we lived in a tiny room. She cleaned houses, always said my dad was rich kind, but didn't know I existed." James's throat closed. Did she ever say his name? "She didn't have to. I always knew I'd find him, or he'd find me." Ethan placed his hand on her arm. "Don't cry." "I'm not," she said, blinking quickly. "Yes, you are," he said gently. "Like when Dad misses Mommy Rachel." James turned away, swallowing hard. His son had noticed. All these years, and he had noticed everything. "Tomorrow," James said softly, "we'll take a test, just to be sure." "And if we're not family," Lily asked, "then you're still staying. You're not going back to the street. Ever." For the first time, she smiled. Really smiled. But deep inside, James knew this was just the beginning of what he wasn't sure. Redemption, fatherhood, or a storm about to shatter everything again. And just when peace seemed possible, he didn't yet know that someone from Lily's past was already watching. We're so sorry to pause the story right here, but let us ask, do you believe people can truly start over if given love and a second chance? If this story has moved you, even just a little, please like the video and tap the heart to support more powerful stories like this one. The next few days felt like a dream that might shatter at any second. James Carter moved through his penthouse like a man walking on glass. He watched Lily sleep curled on the couch with Ethan's dinosaur tucked in her arms. He studied Ethan's sudden change, talking, laughing, reaching for Lily like he'd known her forever. Every moment deepened James's hope and his fear. The DNA results came back. The envelope trembled in his hands. "She's yours," the assistant said quietly. James couldn't speak. All he could do was look across the room where Lily sat flipping through one of Ethan's picture books, unaware that her world had just shifted. He approached slowly. "You're my daughter," he whispered. Lily looked up. She didn't say anything at first. Then softly, "So? You're not sending me back out there?" James knelt. "Never. You're home now." Ethan cheered. "I knew it. I knew you were my sister." Lily smiled faintly, but there was tension behind her eyes, like she was still waiting for the ground beneath her to crack open. Later that night, while the kids watched cartoons, James made a call. His voice turned cold. "Robert," he said when his former business partner picked up. "We need to talk. Now." He met Robert Hale in his downtown office, the same sleek glass building where their empire had begun. James didn't waste time. You intercepted Claire's messages, paid her off, hid the fact that she was pregnant. Robert paled, James, she died, and Lily ended up on the streets, my daughter. Do you know what she's been through? I was protecting you, Robert snapped. You were marrying Rachel. A scandal would have destroyed your career. James slammed the DNA results on the desk. You didn't protect me. You betrayed me. Robert looked at the paper and fell silent. I want everything James said. Every message you blocked. Every letter. Every cent you paid her. And I want $5 million wired to a new account. For Lily. For what you stole from her. Robert's face darkened. You're blackmailing me? No. I'm giving you a chance to do one decent thing. The silence that followed was long and bitter. But in the end, Robert nodded. When James returned home, Lily was asleep in Ethan's bed, curled beside her brother, like they were two pieces of the same soul. He watched them heart-heavy with guilt and wonder. But the peace didn't last. 2 days later, a black car idled across the street from James's building. Inside sat 3 men, Rick Dawson Kyle and Derek Predators, who once controlled Lily like property. She's worth money now, Rick said, lighting a cigarette. The Carter guy's a billionaire. Let's make him bleed. They waited, watched, and struck. It was a Wednesday afternoon. Lily had started school and was waiting at Grant Park, reading on a bench while Ethan attended therapy. Their driver, David, stood nearby, distracted by a call. Rick appeared from nowhere. Lily, he said with a twisted grin. She froze. You've got the wrong girl. No, sweetheart. You're exactly the one I'm looking for. She looked over at David, but Kyle was already behind him. A thud. David collapsed. Lily ran. Derek grabbed her arm. Let's go. Quiet and quick. She fought, kicked, screamed, but they shoved her into the car and sped off. James's phone rang less than an hour later. Mr. Carter, it's David. I couldn't stop them. They took her. Lily's gone. James's knees buckled. Moments later, a new call came in. Unknown number. We have your daughter, a voice said calmly. $2 million, cash, tomorrow at 6 p.m., or she disappears forever. James's voice cracked. Don't hurt her. You better hope we're in a good mood. The line went dead. James called his security team, mobilized every contact he had. I want every eye in Chicago looking for her. Meanwhile, in a dim warehouse outside the city, Lily sat bound to a chair, blood trickling from her lip. But she didn't cry, not even when Rick stepped into the light. Daddy's rich, he sneered. Let's hope he loves you enough to pay. Lily stared at him, bruised but unbroken. You can chain me up. You can starve me. But I am not that scared little girl anymore. Rick snarled. We'll see. The next day, James arrived at the drop site, an abandoned loading dock. He carried the money himself, eyes blazing with a fury that made his guards uneasy. Lily, he shouted. She appeared limping, shoved forward by Derek. James dropped the bag. Let her go. Rick pointed a gun. We're not done yet. But that was the signal. James's security burst in from every angle. In less than a minute, it was over. Lily was safe. The men were cuffed. James ran to her, untying her shaking hands. You came, she whispered, collapsing into him. I thought maybe you wouldn't. I will always come for you, he said, his voice breaking. No matter what. As they drove home, Lily stared out the window, eyes full of worry. They know where we live, she said. What if they come back? James reached for her hand. You're right. It's not safe anymore. He made a decision. 3 days later, they moved into a 2-story house in Lake Forest, Illinois, lush, private guarded. Lily had a room of her own with pale blue walls and sunlight pouring in through wide windows. Her first real room. As she stood in the doorway, tears welled up. Is this really mine? James nodded. Every inch of it. Ethan hugged her waist. Now you can paint the walls with dinosaurs. That night, Lily lay awake in her new bed, staring at the ceiling. James peeked in. Can't sleep, I'm just scared this isn't real. It is. You promise? He walked over, kissed her forehead. With all I've got. But none of them knew. The past hadn't let go yet. We hate to pause right here, But what would you do if someone from your past threatened the safety of your family? If this part hit you in the heart, please give it a like and tap that heart button to support more powerful stories like this one. The new house in Lake Forest quickly became more than just a place to hide. It became a home. For the first time in her life, Lily Brooks had her own bed, her own desk, and even a bookshelf waiting to be filled. Ethan Carter ran through the halls like the wind, no longer the silent child he used to be. And James Carter, once emotionally locked behind business suits and corporate meetings, found himself transformed by the small, messy, noisy beauty of fatherhood. Weeks passed, then months. Lily started school. She made friends. She read with a hunger James had never seen in a child. Every night she'd tell Ethan bedtime stories, ones she made up or ones she remembered from her mother, Claire. And every morning, Ethan would wake her up just to hear her say, "Good morning, sleepyhead," like it was the most magical phrase in the world. But one Saturday morning, James had something different planned. "I want to take you both somewhere special," he said at breakfast. "Where?" Lily asked with pancake syrup on her chin. "To see someone very important to you." She froze. My mom, James nodded. "If you're ready." An hour later, they stood in front of Claire Brooks' grave. The stone was simple, the grass neatly trimmed. Lily knelt and touched the engraving as if tracing memories she never got to live. "Hi, Mom," she whispered. "I found him." "You were right. He didn't know, but now he does." Ethan, standing beside her, reached out a small hand. "Hi, Mom, Claire. Thanks for taking care of Lily until we found her." James knelt beside them, placing flowers at the base. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "I should have known. I should have looked harder. But I swear to you, I'll protect her always." Lily turned, tears streaking her cheeks. She used to say that everything happens for a reason, that even pain has a purpose. James wrapped an arm around her. She was right. They stayed in silence for a long time. And when they finally left, it felt like a door had quietly closed behind them, not in sorrow, but in peace. Later that week, while driving the kids home from school, James saw Ethan pointing at a group of children at an intersection. Dirty, barefoot, holding signs. "Why do they live on the streets?" Ethan asked. Lily answered first. "Because no one gave them a chance, like no one gave me." James felt the question sink into his chest like a stone. That night he couldn't sleep. By morning he had a plan. "I'm starting something," he told Lily and Ethan over cereal. "A place for kids like you. A place where they'll be safe, have food, go to school. A second chance." Lily's eyes widened. "You mean like a home?" "Exactly. And I want you two to help me run it." 3 months later, the Hope Foundation opened its doors. A refurbished school building with bright colors, soft beds, warm meals, therapy rooms, and most important of all, love. Real, consistent love. Lily spoke at the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Her voice shook at first, but then it steadied. "I was once like the kids you see here today. I slept in parks, ate from trash cans, and thought I didn't matter. But someone found me. Someone believed in me, and now I get to believe in all of you." The applause that followed wasn't loud, it was deep, honest, the kind that grows in your chest and doesn't leave for a long time. Lily began mentoring the younger girls. Ethan helped with speech therapy, teaching kids the same breathing tricks he had learned. And James, he showed up every day, not as CEO Carter, but simply as Dad. 6 months passed, then a year. One sunny afternoon, Lily ran out to the backyard, waving a paper in her hand. "Dad, Ethan, look." James looked up from trimming the rose bushes. "What is it?" "My school project," she beamed. "We had to write about a hero." James unfolded the page and read aloud. "My hero is my mom, Claire Brooks. She taught me to be strong, even when she was gone. She told me to believe in love. And because of her, I found my dad and my brother. Now I help others find their own hope too." James's throat tightened. "It's beautiful." Ethan tugged at his sleeve. "Can I write about Lily?" James laughed. "Why? Because she's my hero. She helped me find my words and my heart." That night after dinner, Lily looked up from her homework. "Do you think Mom would be proud of me?" James met her gaze full of certainty. "She'd be proud of everything you are." They didn't know that in just a few days, more lives would change. Children who had no one would be adopted. Others would speak for the first time. The walls of the foundation would echo with laughter, healing, and growth. But most of all, they didn't know that their little story, the one that started with a girl asking for leftovers, would become the beginning of hope for so many. And every year on the same day they first met, the family would return to that spot in downtown Chicago. Not to eat at the fancy restaurant, but to remember. To remember that second chances exist. That family isn't just about blood, it's about love and showing up when it matters most. One evening, Lily asked her dad a question. "Do you think Mom Claire and Mom Rachel are friends in heaven?" James smiled. "I'd like to think they are, probably laughing at how we finally figured it out down here." She nodded. "They'd be happy to know we're okay." "I think they do know," James said softly, "and they're proud." That night, as Lily tucked Ethan into bed and turned off the light, she whispered, "I love you, little brother." Ethan sleepily mumbled, "Love you too, big sis." In the hallway, James paused and looked back at them, his heart full, steady, and finally at peace. He had kept his promise. This family, formed by fate, forged through pain, was forever. Now let us ask you this. What do you believe defines a true family, blood love, or both? And if you had the chance to help one lost child find their home, would you take it? How did this story make you feel? If it moved you, comment no 3 below. If you're still unsure, comment no 2. And if it didn't quite land for you, comment no 1. We want to know. Also, we'd love to know, what country are you watching from today? Please like, heart, and share this story if it touched you. Let's spread hope together.